Goga has entered the chat. We finally have something to talk about when it comes to Goga and EuroBasket after Georgia's victory over Spain this morning in their first game of group stage for EuroBasket. We're going to go over his game using some stats and looking at the film because you know me, I like numbers and I like to watch the film. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentine and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. Got to do the normal YouTube thing, so share this video, hit that like, hit that subscribe, or drop a comment below letting me know what you thought of Goga's game this morning. So we're going to start checking out his game by looking at some of the stats. Goga scored 15 points, had 5 rebounds and 2 assists on 6 of 11 shooting, and that's right, 2 of 4 from 3 point range. So the game went, I think, very different than what I was expecting after they had had so many games in their prep be behind closed doors where there wasn't a lot of cameras or a lot of media about it. I had no idea really what to expect from the Georgia national team. So it was quite a surprise to see how well they played against the team that won the last EuroBasket in Spain. Goga was his normal self in a lot of ways. If you look at the Goga player profile that I did, there were 3 areas that I mentioned on areas for growth that I thought that could help propel him even further in his NBA career. And 2 out of those 3 kind of just kept rearing their head a little bit here, but he was able to overcome them by really hitting on that third there. So the 3 areas of improvement that I mentioned were the outside shooting, of course. That's something that he mentioned that he wanted to improve on, and he'd been working on it throughout the summer so far. He'd posted on social media showing him hitting more threes from the outside in practice or in preparation for the Eurobasket, and it looks like it paid off. He hit 2 of 3. He hit 2 in the fourth quarter, more specifically, both from the corners. So we'll go over the film, so don't worry about that. But it was great sight to see for an Orlando Magic fan because we want everybody to be able to shoot threes. Obviously, that's something that is in today's game, today's NBA. That's just the way it is. Everyone should be able to shoot from the outside, and him hitting a few here and there will definitely loosen things up for him and for the offense for the Orlando Magic. The other 2 things for me were finishing around the basket, and we'll see that he was able to have 4 offensive rebounds, as you can see by the stats there, and most of those are from him missing up close. So he'll miss the first layup attempt, and he'll be able to grab the rebound and then go back up and either get fouled or be able to make it the second or third time around. So all that really hurts in the end is his shooting percentage. He's able to still get the rebounds, and they get the basket anyway, so that doesn't really matter necessarily. Other than it'd be nice if he's able to knock it out of that first try. So there's a lot less having to jump around with all those people around. That's an easy way to twist an ankle or to have any type of injury by having to have excessive jumping when you can just dunk it or make it the first time. Obviously, he's trying to make it the first time. It's just one of those things that it doesn't happen as often as we'd hope. And the sulky demeanor, I think, it was the other bit. I didn't talk about it so much in the player profile. I just mentioned it once about him, the way he sags his head a lot of the times when things either aren't going well or whatever. And I didn't know if that was more of a cultural thing, but looking at a lot of the other Georgian players, they didn't do it as much as I'd hoped, in that hoping that the demeanor was more of a cultural thing, but in the end that wasn't the case. He There were several times I didn't put those on the video just because I didn't want to have that. You want to kind of forget about that as much as possible, but I do want to bring it up because it's something that I brought up in the past that we're hoping to see him move past. So he basically, on multiple times, if he didn't get the ball or if something negative had happened, he didn't even run back. There were 2 times on 2 instances where he barely ran back, and luckily Spain wasn't a fast-paced team in that way, so he was able to get back into defensive position before they were able to shoot. So that in the end didn't hurt them as well, but it's still something to see. And if you've watched my old videos, I mentioned that I think Goga should start. Really, Wendell Carter is a great player, but I feel that Goga it's great to have him engaged as much as possible. Wendell Carter Jr. could still thrive, I think, in the second unit as well. So anyway, it's potato potato. Everybody has their preferences. So for me, I'd rather have him start, but to watch the way he plays sometimes when he gets all sulky, and I don't know if it's because he expects his role to be different here than on the Magic. He knows he's not going to be the leading scorer on the team or anything like that. So maybe he's able to take that role on the Magic easier, knowing that he just has to rebound, get putbacks, things like that. While on the Georgia national team, maybe he thinks he needs to be more on the offensive end. He needs to be scoring more. He needs to be doing more. So maybe that's why he was a bit more forceful and a bit more engaged, and not necessarily the best way at times. Maybe that's why that was. In the end, this wasn't the biggest. It's not the biggest deal, but it's just something to keep your eye on, and we'll see what the next games have to bring for the Georgia national team as well as Goga. Goga's a great player. I hope all the best for him. Obviously, we hope all the best for him on the Magic. In the end, we will focus on the positives, especially the 3-point shots that he hit late in the game. So if we go through the video, his first play is a defensive play. I have it in chronological order since it's just Goga. I don't have to split it up between Franz and Tristan, as you would have seen in yesterday's breakdown. Goga's going to come on over and rotate. You see he's on the top side there. He comes through to contest. Doesn't get the block, but the contest is all that's needed here. He does a nice little, it's not a dribble handoff there, but kind of a dribble handoff. Gets a nice little assist there. Super simple action here. So here he's going to set up for Baldwin. Baldwin had a great game here, their point guard. So I think there was a lot of guys that played very well for the Georgia national team. So we'll see what the next game has to bring. So he's coming out. Looks like he's going to set a screen. He just kind of flops over, wanders through. Should got the ball up front, but luckily his teammate is able to get him the ball. So the Baldwin should have been able to get it over the top. He could have lobbed it or a straight line pass. It didn't. It didn't happen. It went off to the wing, and the wing was able to get it to Goga. Now Goga still took long to get that ball up in the air, and that's where you could see he's kind of talking to the point guard. We're like, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm here. I did a good job of rolling." So that is, he was missed, but in the end, he ended up getting it. Little handoff there, comes on out, launches the three. So from the top of the key and from the wings, he didn't hit them. He didn't hit his 2 threes that he shot from there. But we'll see what happened in the fourth quarter. He was also dribbling the ball up, was able to draw a foul. That's something that I don't. He did a little bit on the Magic, very sparingly, but it was just something else. That's why I think his role on his national team, I would think, would be expanded than what he has on the Magic. But in the end, it didn't seem that he was the focal point, but he ended up making enough shots that he ended up being the person who scored the second most points on the team. Okay, so here's another roll. He's going to come in, get a nice there. He goes, has the ball. Whoop, missed the first one, got fouled in the second one. Could have been a good and one. I think in the end, he had shot free throws there. Nice pick and roll. Whee! Didn't miss that one, but again, able to get the ball. Get all those offensive rebounds. He gets the second chance off his second chance. They do a good job. Comes up there, trying to draw a foul. Didn't get the call. Goes through here. Another nice offensive rebound. So basically, from midway second quarter to the fourth quarter, he ended up getting into foul trouble. Basically, so that's partially why he only played 23 minutes. So it just didn't seem that he was able to stay on the court. Partially just to himself. Another area of growth I mentioned in the player profile was his fouling. There was also a technical foul that he was assessed, and those count as personal fouls in FIBA. So you only get 5 as well. There's 6 in the NBA, 5 in FIBA. So he only had a total of 5. He ended up picking a kind of a cheapy second one, and also a cheapy third one. Then he got a technical foul for the fourth one. So in the end, he ended up being in foul trouble for a good portion of this game, but he was able to still get his points and help his team to victory. So here's this ball here again. They didn't really run a play in that time. He just ended up getting catching and shooting a three there. So that's really the last one until the fourth quarter. So here he's left wide open, as you see in the corner there. Hand is up, shoots with confidence. All that work he's been putting in hits that three. You see, they were only up by 7 at the time, so they needed that to create some separation. Then a little bit of a pick and roll, nice lob, and he was geeked. He had some energy about him today. He was talking to his bench throughout every after every one of the shots he made. So I don't know if that was a I told you get me the ball, or it was just kind of him being with his boys in there doing the different things that the Magic do. That might have been what it was on their team. Again, look at him just kind of sagging on the corner there. Gets the ball. Ooh, and then if for all the old heads out there, if you remember the Mario Ellie from the Houston Rockets back in the mid '90s, used to have a celebration. Goga had the same celebration there. That was Goga's game. A lot of good. I would say that for me, the it was if I was going to grade Goga on this performance, I'd say A minus. For me, he did a really good job. He could have done a little bit better on the boards. I mentioned he had 5 of them. Spain wasn't really shooting well, and neither was his team. Shot okay, but they weren't shooting as well. He could have had a few more boards here and there, but I think a lot of that happened because he didn't get as many because of his foul trouble. If he would have played more minutes, I think he would have been able to get a double double, which would have been great. 15 points. It's nothing to sneeze at, especially in EuroBasket against a team of Spain's caliber. Spain might be on the downside now after the golden era of the Gasol brothers. Maybe that's what's happening with Spain, but it was a bit of a shock to watch Georgia play as well as it did. And for me, watching Goga excel, especially in that fourth quarter, was very exciting because that's the kind of play we're going to need from him. Because start of the season, he's going to be at least our backup center, and we're going to need points from him because he's filling in for Mo. Mo is kind of our fire starter. He's our microwave man who's able to come in and score 12 points in 10 minutes of play. So we're going to need more offense. So if Goga's going to be hitting threes, that's found money. We're going to need every point we can have. Our defense is going to be good, and we're going to have more firepower on our offensive end, especially from our starters. So hopefully, if Goga is starting to shoot threes and is a bit more engaged and is able to be more focused or focus some of that demeanor that he has, where he sometimes gets a bit more negative on himself, if he's able to harness that and put that all into his defense, then hey, that's going to be wonderful. And maybe we're talking about Goga being the 6th man of the year for the Orlando Magic. So we'll see. Georgia's next game in Eurobasket is in 2 days on the 30th of August against Italy. So we'll see how they do. We'll see how Goga does because really that's all that matters to us. It's nice to watch the guys on other teams, but really all that is building towards a great season coming up for the Orlando Magic. So I want to thank you very much for spending time talking Magic with me. Don't forget to do the normal things. Hit subscribe, hit that like, drop a line down below in the comments and let me know how you think Goga did in his game this morning. Thank you again, and I hope you're having a great day.